that right?
Looks good.
Yeah, Jeff, it's funny. I had to have my 8th grader help my 3rd grader with his math because of how they teach it. I'm like, I'm going to screw it all up. So
That would be hard. That would be really tough. I'm glad I don't have to do that. And so are all the schools, are they kind of continuing lessons as in people are going to go through their grades? But they don't know. Yeah.
Shelter in place was today with Austin. We don't know if it, I mean, they're saying right now May 1st, which school is here end of May. I don't know. I think it's still up in the air. They're supposed to be giving us some virtual class direction, I think, next week. I'm not sure. I think everybody's just trying to figure out, and teachers are doing the lesson plans and things like that right now.
Right.
I'm almost there, guys. 30 more seconds.
No problem.
So, but I have 4 of them in all different schools and different grades. And I'm just,
That's wild. All 4 different schools?
yeah.
Wow.
One of mine is very dyslexic too, and so that's the one I'm having the challenge with because I don't want to undo the progress he's made by the way, and I just don't. I mean, he's doing okay so far, but.
Hey, one thing before we get going, we're looking at a bunch of things across the company. So in terms of getting into changes that we're going to make, I really don't want to get into that now, especially because it's a public company and we don't want to get into, because we don't have the answers yet.
Yeah.
So if we can stay away from, cuts and things like that, that would be good.
We're going to let you lead this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have questions that we outlined, but quite frankly, Jeff,
Sure.
it can be your time to discuss what you would like.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. All I got to do is I'm going to hit go live.
Okay.
You guys ready? And got to do one more step.
Actual title is CFO of World Holdings, or?
Yeah, so it's a CFO of EXP World Holdings and the
We're
chief.
live, guys.
All right.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, how are you guys?
Doing good, doing great.
So good. Elizabeth Riley, oh my gosh, we have another fantastic guest today.
I know, we're so excited. Jeff Whiteside, thank you for joining us all the way from New York.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
How are you doing up there? Everything okay?
I'm actually in upstate New York, which I'm in Saratoga Springs. So I'm about 3 hours from the city. So a lot of the stuff that's happening right now is happening in the city. So we're pretty lucky. A lot less people up here and a lot more land and things like that. So we're doing much better than the people in the city. So that's obviously a big problem down there, but we're doing fine up here. Things are good.
Good to hear.
Other than the largest snowstorm we had yesterday or the day before, we had like 6 inches of snow. So
you had snow yesterday?
We had the largest snowstorm of the year 2 days ago.
Okay, and here you are talking to Florida and Texas, which we're just like, no, that's just one thing that I wouldn't do well with. So
yeah, but that'll melt too. So things are good, relatively speaking.
Good. Well, we are so excited to have you here with us today. So just so everybody watching knows, you are the CFO of EXP Holdings, and we are so blessed to have you as one of our leaders. And we've been talking a lot about the leadership of our company and why we're so excited about where EXP has been and where we're going and what it does for us as agents. And so thank you for coming to share with us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I would love to know. So just share your story.
Sure.
When you first learned about EXP and then becoming CFO, tell us a little bit about that journey.
Sure. So I've spent a lot of my career in large companies, and then when I spent about 20 years with GE and GE Capital in the real good days when Jack Welch was there and GE Capital was just booming. So when I came off there, I actually joined a company called Commerce Hub. And that was my first software company I joined. And that was back in the day when e-commerce was probably about 2% of sales. And the company came up with a software product that actually matched the big e-tailers, or who were going to become e-tailers, like the Targets, the Costco's, QVCs, with drop shippers. And that was a software product, and it worked, and it was fantastic. So they were they were way ahead of their time. So that's kind of, I spent about 5 years there as a CFO, COO on the software side. So so that was my first introduction to software and commerce, and really interested in that. Also, I think if I back up too, I mean, I've always had a passion for real estate. So if I'm not buying or selling back in the day, I did start in real estate development. That was my first role out of school, which was a long time ago, as you can tell. But so I always had a passion for real estate, had a passion for software. And when the opportunity came up, it actually came up through a colleague of mine that I used to work with in another software company who was working at EXP. So I started following EXP and what the team was doing here. The combination between the growth model and the platform for agents and just all the what's going on in the industry. So I got interested there. They introduced me to the company. I got into the process of the CFO recruiting and ended up getting the job. So it was interesting. I think one of my last things I had to do before Glenn hired me, I met him a couple of times, and I had to meet him in his office, right? So so again, coming from the traditional business where I used to have to drive to work or fly or whatever I happened to do, had a lot of international business. So, very used to talking to people, not in country. So I'm very used to that, but the office and the world was brand new to me. So I met Glenn in his office, and it went well. And as you can see today with Rebella, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit, but I mean, the model and the way we work, I think, is fantastic. And I think it's the financials kind of prove it from what we've seen so far. So.
And speaking of what's that, Elizabeth?
I was going to say, we spoke with Glenn yesterday.
Yeah.
He was talking about our leadership and how you guys are all over the country.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, he's in Washington State,
Yep.
and you're in New York, and Jason's in Boston. And so it was probably pretty eye-opening for you to say, okay, I don't have to leave my home. I don't have to get on a plane. I don't have to leave my family. And
Yep.
you were productive meeting with the CEO or the founder of the company at that time.
Absolutely. And I'd say the other thing I'd mention up front too is that I went to the New Orleans EXP Con before I started, right? So I started in 2018, but before I started, I went to New Orleans and I was just blown away. I had no idea what to expect, but it really felt to me like what a Berkshire Hathaway investors conference would be like, right? Where everybody's so excited about the company, and they're so excited about the product. They're so excited to be on the team, and you would never know based on the relationships that you saw there that this is a virtual company, that people worked all over the company. So I think that's just a huge asset for us. And as we can see what we're doing today, not just through this, but through the world and how we're operating our business. I mean, it made so much sense before this virus situation happened, and it's going to just even make more sense after. So, and I just, the culture of the company just blew me away. It really did blow me away from New Orleans, and, fortunate enough to be at the events last year. And, and I think that the way that we interact, so I've been in meetings all day today in the world with Jason, with Mike Vane, with Stacy, with everybody, all day long. And that's kind of, tomorrow we'll have another board meeting that we'll have in the world. As you know, on Fridays, we have all our company meetings. So it's just been a great experience for me personally. And I think a lot of it has to do with just the culture that Glenn's built. And obviously Jason and Dave and a bunch of the rest of the group has done a fantastic job. We had a great model. All right, so that's one thing that attracted me to the company too. When you look at the model, we have 3 very critical pieces, and they're not separate at all, but they all have to work together. We have this model where we have our agents building our teams, we have our agents selling real estate, and then we have our staff that's there to support the rest of the company the best way, the most effective way we can. And just going back for a second on the financials, if people have not seen the press release for year-end December 2019, you should see that, and maybe you guys could post it. But that gives you a really good overview of what happened in 2019. So, going into 2019, we pretty much doubled the business year over year from 2018 to 2019. All right, not even so much from an agent count, but from a volume standpoint. from a cash standpoint. So we had a phenomenal year. We really did have a phenomenal financial year, a great growth year. And going into this year, we're very well positioned. So we feel very good about where we are. Obviously, there's some rough seas ahead that we got to deal with, and we will deal with. But company's in great shape financially, and really happy to be here. It's probably it is one of the best places that I've worked. And I say that mostly because of the culture, the growth mentality, the people that are here. Again, starting with Glenn's leadership, and I'm not just mentioning his name. I just think he created a culture that people, we're all kind of in this together. We're all trying to grow the business together. And what that's going to do, if we do it right, which the company has done right, is going to give us opportunity for everybody. And that's kind of where we are right now.
You've mentioned, Jeff, culture a number of times, which of course, from the inside, we all know the culture is not only healthy, but thriving and rewarding. And as an agent at eXp Realty, I've never felt poured into and loved on even close to what I have for the last 2.5 years. What do you think is the direct reason on how we've built, nurtured, and continue to progress the culture that we have? And you mentioned that, you go to when we have our belly to belly conferences, right? We all already know each other. Lots of hugs, lots of just all immediate connection because we have established relationships. How do you think that's taking place? What do you think that is?
I think what's happened is that, a lot of culture starts at the top of an organization, and Glenn and Jason have kind of put together a culture where I think, they set this whole thing up to do the right thing for the agents, to find the best place in the world for an agent to go, where they could make more money, they could build teams, they could have a different level of different areas of revenue production for themselves, and also an ownership, right? So I think it starts there. I also think that it's a very honest and open culture. All right. So I think that when Glenn talks, or any of us talk, really, there's no mixed messages for the most part. And I think what I've done personally is make sure that part of my role. So there's another role that I have, Glenn called it the Chief Collaboration Officer. So when I came into the company, I've usually been, I have been CFO and COO in different companies, but the title that he came up with was Chief Collaboration Officer. And from the beginning, I'm like, I have no idea what he's talking about. All right. I do now, though, because now looking at this culture, the reason it's so successful is collaboration is key to our success, right? So when you think about the agents, the icons, the growth leaders sharing what they know. Okay, I'll just give you an example. I mean, obviously the icons are up on stage every Friday, and they're coming and sharing, right? And a lot of our education is about sharing, and I think people come to the organization see that. On the other side, I went to so when Brent and the team had their big thing in Vegas last year about the growth side of the team, it was all about sharing how to grow.
Well, the three of us met there. We
that's what I'm saying.
Great meeting there, right?
Collaborating. Yeah. So I guess I went from somebody that really didn't pay attention to the word collaboration to somebody that is like a huge believer in it. And if you don't collaborate, if you don't share, if you're not connected, then you really don't fit well here. All right. So the people that we have from a leadership standpoint, the people that we have and we're trying to help on the staff, it's critical for that to happen here. And that's, I think, going back to make a short story long, going back to your question, collaboration, I think, is huge. I mean, from the Genes of the world to the two of you, to everybody, to Glenn, to Jason, and the access that you have for people to be able to help you be successful here, I think is extraordinary.
I have a question talking a little more about the financial side is, how do investors that you meet feel about EXPI? That's our ticker symbol, right? EXPI on NASDAQ.
Yeah. It's a great question. And the first thing they all are blown away with, but believe at the same time, is the growth. right? They're just like, wow, this is incredible. How fast this company has grown. And obviously that's the agent base times the transactions. And as I said, we pretty much doubled. Company's done phenomenal for years. More recently, we've been doubling the revenue year over year, right? So from 18 to 19, we went from roughly $500 million to $1 billion in revenue. And that's all based on what the agents have done. And so they're all kind of blown away, but they believe because they see the numbers in terms of it's real. We don't have any, so for instance, we don't have any inventory, right? So there's nothing behind these numbers other than a real estate transaction. So the agent count, they're blown away by the resulting revenue, they're blown away by the fact that we have no debt on the balance sheet. They're really excited by most people are really excited that we have owners who are our agents, right? So that's a bigger thing. They're also, they really.
I am. Elizabeth is.
And they're also excited by the fact that, you know, the person that is leading the company has a huge stake in the company, right? Which he does. That's, you know, and so, which is all good. One thing that I noticed right off the bat was, you know, we're all excited about Virbela, okay? But when you go into an investment meeting with potential investors, you're talking to them. And you talk to them and they shake their head. Oh yeah, that sounds great. That's really good. What I found out pretty early on is that we really had to show them. All right, so once we start showing them the way we work, so the bottom line is that we run $1 billion global real estate brokerage 100% on this virtual platform, right? It's not like we have a call the odd time in the platform. We actually run the operations in the platform. We have no corporate offices. We have no brokerage. Well, we have what we have to do in the States, but so once they get, once
you say it that way, Jeff.
I'm sorry?
I said that sounds very impressive when you say it that way.
Well, but that's what it is. So we and I've spent quite a bit of time with Virbela over the last probably 9 months with Alex and the team. And when we start describing it as a phone call, right? Whether it's Zoom, and Zoom's great, okay? It's one way to communicate. We don't just communicate through our platform, which I was in, as I mentioned before, with Jason and Mike and the whole team all day together in my office, right? We run a global business on this platform. We have accounting, we have human resources, we have payments, we have the agents coming in for training. So it's more than just a way to communicate. It's how we run our business, it's how we work. And I think one thing I'd add too is that what's been great for me and from all of us really is that as we look for talent across the business, whatever the leadership positions are, even, you know, talent across the entire business, we can look anywhere. We have, our pool goes from people that want to move to Saratoga Springs, New York, or to New York, or to San Francisco, or wherever it is, to anybody in the entire country or all over North America. Yeah.
A really good story that I had heard, it was actually at one of our conferences at EXPCon, was talking about that same point, Jeff, on the retention side. Is there was a staff member who worked for eXp Realty for several years who their spouse was in the military. And so eXp has the retention capability as well, because a relocation doesn't constitute a departure from this company. So talent pool is vast, but also retention is higher.
And we do have a number of people who have spouses in the military, and they're actually some of our best employees. And they're so thankful too that they can actually keep their job and keep working with the people they're working with. So it's a great thing to have. It really is.
Well, you talk about the platform and bringing everybody together. Renee and I were talking earlier today. I taught a class this morning in the cloud, and there were 150 agents in there, which you can't really do on Zoom. You can't really do on some of the other platforms efficiently or effectively. And I had my presentation up there, and I was up on the stage, and I was fielding questions, and I just stood up on stage looking out there at all these people in awe of what we've created or what's been created.
And I think that just to kind of add it really, you know, so assuming that you're going to be virtual, okay? So if you're a virtual company and you're working in a virtual situation, this really creates community. It actually, it creates engagement. And you can't explain it, kind of going back to the investment things I was telling you about, because until they see it, they don't get it. People don't get it until they're in it. But when you're like, when I'm in my office, which is right across from Glenn's, when he calls me to stop in, I really feel like, might sound weird, but you guys know it. I feel like I'm going to somebody's office and I'm sitting down in his chair. But it's so for me, it's more than having a phone call or it's just a lot more. And it creates community and it creates engagement. It really does.
Elizabeth, what's the saying that you say? I love your saying, Elizabeth, from the outside.
That's what I was going to share, because how you're saying. So I went to Texas A&M, right? And we had, our school is full of traditions and people don't understand it. And so we used to have a shirt and a saying that said, from the outside looking in, you can't understand it.
Sure.
From the inside looking out, you can't explain it.
Right.
And I really believe that's our EXP family and culture, because we try to explain it and people are like, why are you guys so excited? And you can't understand it until you're a part of it.
Yep.
So I say that all the time.
And that's another, I mean, going back to the investors, I mean, when we do try to get as many investors as possible into the events, and they're just blown away when they see it. They can't believe it. So it's the culture is a huge thing. I mean, I think that the fact that the business model is designed to retain or to recruit and retain agents and train them and keep them and retention and pay them the most we can. I think it's a great business model that way. And from an equity standpoint, the opportunity to participate for all of us makes a big difference. No matter what company you're in, if you own some of the stock, it's a different feeling. Yeah. Right? And especially with the growth, it's a great combination.
So we're weathering a storm currently with coronavirus. Let's all hope that it's a lot faster than it sometimes feels like. We talked about homeschooling right now, so that makes everything feel a little bit longer. But with eXp Realty, how do you feel the company is poised to not only weather the storm, but to come out stronger on the other side?
So I think, the obvious answer, one of them is that you don't have to have an office. You don't have to have brick and mortar to be in business. Okay. And not only can you use the platform to grow your business, you can grow your business beyond your geographic area. Right. So that's one of the things that I thought was, when I first joined the company, we spent a lot of time going to agent events, whether it's Oregon or wherever it was. And one of the things that came up to me on a regular basis was, I joined because, I love doing business in this city, but I always wanted to do business in those other cities too. They're not even talking across the country. They're talking about the same state. So this gives people the opportunity to stay in business, to be on a platform where they don't need the bricks and mortar. So from a cost standpoint, I think that, we feel very strongly, like I mentioned at the beginning, from a financial standpoint and the way the company's grown, we feel fantastic coming into this year. I mean, without this virus, we were on fire in 2019 in a good way, like in a really solid, good way. As you know, we have a goal to, the agents are number one from an NPS standpoint. So that's Net Promoter Score. That's how we drive our business. What do we need to fix in the company to attract and retain agents? Okay, so on the realty side. So I think we have a great foundation to get through this. We do have no debt on the balance sheet, and we also have a variable cost model. For the most part, our costs are variable in our model, that they go up and down with volume. So we believe that we are positioned very well. I think it's gonna give people the opportunity to take a look at this model more than they would so before. So we feel good about that. And from my perspective, and of course everybody has their opinion. I'm watching this. Everybody's watching this every day. We have to get this fixed, right? So in terms of we have to get a solution, and we can't. This can't go on for forever. And we're going to do everything we can to adjust where we need to in the short term, but at the same time, we feel very strongly when we come out the other side, we'll be in a great position.
That's so good to hear. I know I feel more prepared than ever, and we've talked about Verbella quite a few times in this conversation. Verbella, what we know is EXP World, quite frankly, is one of the key differentiators that has contributed to the growth that we've had on our team here in Orlando. Is we have connected with our agents in a stronger way, and we have a stronger culture even in our team itself today than we did 2.5 years ago because of that connectivity and the community that it builds.
Yep. So, you know, I think that before I was excited, one of the reasons I came here too was because of Verbella. I mentioned before I started my career in real estate development. So we go around, you know, condominiums on the lake, hotels and things like that. And I loved it. You know, I thought it was great just to build something and even to go back to something. But I'm thinking that, as time goes on, as you travel around, you see less and less people in offices. You see, even if they have offices, they're not there, right? You walk around some of our the business that we deal with, people aren't there. They got their suitcases, they got their lunches and things like that. So I think this is definitely an opportunity for a lot of companies like EXP. So Verbella really has, we were the biggest customer, okay? But I think there's 1,000 customers out there like EXP that can use this platform to do the same kind of business and run their business on this platform. So the opportunity is huge. And as you can see, I mean, the group right now, so Glenn's moved over to Verbella for the most part to drive that front end. The team did a fantastic job in 2019 on the development side. So we spent a lot of time and a lot of resource, building where we needed to build on the software side. And, they've made great progress there. So the timing is fantastic. So as people come onto the platform right now, it's going to be a higher quality experience. Sound would be one of them, right? So, Alex and the team has done a great job there. And I think that it's a great opportunity for our company, but it's also a great opportunity for a lot of other companies to use the platform.
It's kind of fun because I'm in there often and I've used Verbella a long time, and every time I'm in there, I learn something new.
Yeah.
Right. So teaching that class today,
yeah.
I had a row of students, but as we grow, I mean, I could extend the room and all of a sudden there's all these chairs that pop up. And then I started seeing how I could put chairs up on the stage, and I'm like, this is really cool.
It is. We're
talking about.
We do have to get the soccer field changed to be an ice arena. So once we get that done, that's something I'm trying to get Alex to do, but we'll see how that goes.
The Icon agents have been meeting on the beach a couple times over the last 2 weeks. So beachside gatherings.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's right now it's on fire. I mean, I think Alex was telling me earlier today, they hit a record again yesterday. Every day they're kind of wrecked. As the virus hits a record, we're hitting a record in Verbella. Unfortunately, they're not both good things, but people are just getting exposure. We spent quite a bit of time in the last 6 months of last year going out to new customers, and a lot of people just didn't even want to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Right? And we went to customers that just built new buildings. So they're just because of that, they don't want to talk about it. But I think this has given the opportunity for a lot of people to listen. And we're not even forcing the message anymore. It's a bit of an obvious message. Even have that backup situation. And the whole world is going to remote. Not everybody's going remote. Obviously, Domino's isn't, but a lot of people can do remote work. And with the tools we have, and with this platform and other platforms combined with Verbella. So as they build the product, they're going to build more functionality into it, so we can do more things within the platform itself. So it's all very positive for us.
What industries off the top of your head do you think are the best candidates for going into the Verbella platform? Well,
it was built primarily for education. Okay, so obviously that's a big one. So we're talking to we have Stanford, we have a number of universities right now. So education and professional education is a big one that they were, and we will be bigger as time goes on. The defense is also the defense has used it for training. And, we're seeing a lot more interest as time goes on that. So safely training the troops to do what they're going to do. We got some great customers there. We got great products there. And then, just recently, I know Glenn mentioned it yesterday, but events. Okay. So we were always kind of looking at, should we go after certain industries? Should it be insurance companies? Should it be this? Should it be that? But one that just hit us right now, especially with what's going on, is event companies. So we're going to have a number of individual events for different companies over a period of time. And then but I do believe that if you look at just what I would call an enterprise customer, like another, an insurance company, a legal company, professional services, I think makes a lot of sense. And, there's a lot of companies that can use it, but so that's those come to my head, and that's a lot. So
it is a lot.
People reaching out to me too with all of this, and I think, like you said, people weren't real interested, or it might not have made sense for them at this time. And this unfortunate situation with coronavirus is making people rethink their business strategies. Once we're all back to normal is one thing, but what if, right? What's the contingency plan in the future? And I don't think people really thought about that, because whoever thought that the whole globe would essentially shut down? And I've had a number of people reach out to me saying, okay, I want to hear more about this platform that you guys are on. And so, and just like you said, one is for a huge conference that they want to, maybe use this, and some is education. So we're seeing people from all over the place, and I'm just sending them over to, Alex.
He's staying busy, trust me.
Yeah, I was going to say, job security at its finest for him.
Yeah, so, and what's happened with the company is that, we spent a lot of time making sure the product works properly and that it's a great product. We hadn't spent a lot of time on the front end of the business, and that's where most of our resources are going right now, to make sure that customers can come in, they can see it, they can get tours, they can try it, whether it's a team suites, they can get contracts and pricing and get their people up and going. I mean, the great news, again, I was in software for about 10 years. And I've seen good, bad, and not so good products, right? And what happens a lot of times in software is somebody will come up with a product that works just for that group or that company, and it's more customized. And to be able to put that against a broader marketplace is very difficult for most software companies, not this one. So actually the world itself is relatively easily replicated, both from a time standpoint and a cost standpoint. So that's great news for us. And for other customers too. So if a big customer came in today, Alex will shoot me for saying this, but we could get big customers up and in their own world in less than a week, especially in normal times. Yeah, which is great.
We're talking to Alex on Friday, so we'll make sure.
Good.
I love that we're having this conversation talking about how other industries and companies and organizations can utilize Virbela. And we've spent a great deal of time diving into that. What is really exciting me is, okay, we've been in this platform, myself and my husband, who's a team leader, and our agents have been in it for 2.5 years. We already know. It's a feeling. We feel it. We see how it grows our business. We get to experience it every single day. And it's so exciting that there are other industries that are going to tap into that, and then they'll feel it too.
Yep. And I'll mention too, our focus is not just on outside of EXP, but international, for instance, a great example. Okay. So we launched both the UK and Australia. We hired the leaders, Adam and Steven, and we hadn't gone there. All right. So the speed at which we can grow our business, both internationally or from an affiliated services standpoint, as you know, I mean, in the affiliated services, we have our own world where all the partners are up there. We have our partners world. So this is without building buildings. This is without going and make all the, flying all over the place. So the speed at which we do business and the speed at which we can expand our company, it's a great tool for that.
Well, and not only for that, but also for us as agents. It builds, it's great for us to be able to come in and teach and learn and collaborate and go to HR and go to accounting and get all that done. But if you think about the relationships on a much broader scale, right? I can pop into Canada, just like I'm talking to you right now. I can pop into Canada and teach a class in Canada and network and get to know the Canadian agents. Their business is very different, but relationships are still the same, right? UK, Australia, anywhere we're going to go, we're going to be able to have a melting pot, if you will, of all these agents internationally in one platform, which opens up referrals. My referrals that have come into my business since being at EXP because of this is night and day from where I was. And I was at my other company for 10 years because you have that opportunity to really connect and really get to know people, right? So it's awesome on a local standpoint, a national standpoint, but an international standpoint for the agents, it's blowing up our businesses in ways that traditional models cannot do.
Which is fantastic.
We experienced that with incoming referrals in our market as well. So our first year with eXp Realty, we had more incoming referrals from other eXp agents that we received in those first 12 months than we did in nearly the previous 20 years combined.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that we haven't talked about it, but Workplace is actually a great tool for that too. So the combination of Workplace and Virbela is really added a lot of speed and productivity and growth for all of us. So it's going to continue. So like, I mean, my view is that this will pass, right? And when we come out the other end, we're going to be in great shape.
What are you most excited about, Jeff, about the future?
I just think that, if I look at, I'll just talk for us for a second. I think that I've been around enough in the last, year and a half or whatever, and I've seen a lot of the other leaders speak in the industry, right? And I just think that from a leadership standpoint and from a model standpoint, from a growth standpoint, the leadership at the agent level, the leadership across our business, I just think we're so well positioned to really take a much larger chunk of the business across North America and globally. I just think it makes so much sense. And every time we talk to somebody, I'm spending a lot of my time talking to some international people and they're just like, this makes so much sense. And these are people that have been in business for 30 years. So I think the leadership, the model, and I think we're just positioned right. And I think from a affiliated services standpoint too, although, these are all brand new programs, we're going to do everything we can in all these programs to make it the best program that the agents can use to grow their business. Right? And I think the speed at which we can grow, we're only at, can't give you numbers in terms of new public numbers, but the numbers, we ended the year around 25,000. The growth, the road for us, I think just in the US alone is huge. So I think we're positioned well, and we were all very excited coming into 2020 after 2019, and I think it'll pick up again, and we'll get back on that growth curve for sure.
We have a very good story to tell, and I think people are attracted to that, and that's why we've seen so much tremendous growth, right? I mean, people want to know, what are we doing that's making our business different? How are you having balance? Elizabeth, how are you blowing up your business? Like, how are you working smarter, not harder? And so our story is very compelling, and we have an amazing story, and people are watching, and especially now. And so I love that the company continues to pour into us, not about the company. It's not about the company dollars, right? The number one focus is the agents and the tools and how those can make us better and help us. And that's very, very different than what we're doing in the marketplace or what we've even personally experienced. So it's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Great. And from a financial standpoint, at the end of the day in the realty business, attracting and retaining agents that's 100% of kind of what we do and try to support and put our investment towards the money that we have. And we'll continue to do that. And it's working, and we'll just keep doing better at it too.
Love it.
We're so grateful for the time we had with you today, Jeff, and everything that you do to pour into this company. And we feel it. We feel it at the agent level. So thank you.
Thank you both. I appreciate it. And you guys are doing a great.
You have a question?
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Before you run off.
Yep.
So we talk about our hashtag. We ask them yesterday. I want to know what you think. Our hashtag that we all use and we all love it for so many different reasons is hashtag EXP Realty Proud. What does that mean to you? What are you most proud about?
Yeah, I think I guess I'm probably most proud about working with the team we have across the whole business. Glenn, the team we have in the company, the team we have on the growth side, the team we have on the agent side. I guess the culture that I'm in right now, or not that I'm in, but the culture that we're all working in right now, I'm pretty proud of. So it's a very open and honest culture, and sometimes we got to make some difficult decisions, but we're all trying to do the right thing. And I think at the end of the day, we're in a culture where we're all trying to help each other and build opportunity and growth opportunity for all of us.
Not many CFOs would have that answer, Jeff, and that's why we're just in the right place. That's
Cool.
amazing.
Okay, goosebumps again. We wrap with goosebumps.
That's
I'm
fun.
so impressed with that answer. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very
adore
much.
You, Jeff. Thank you so much.
Thanks for everything you do, and we'll talk to you soon. All right.
Take care, guys.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
All right.
You
Bye-bye.
too.